Appreciation. Racers, stunts, out. Car won't drive itself. Go, go.
So on and so forth. The do means the podcast is going.
Yeah, when YouTubers say the doobly-doo, that's what they mean. It's the little noise that they make to themselves when they're not sure if they're recording yet, in order to see their wavelengths.
True.
I don't like that the opening slide says "after accident." This is exactly like the Texas school disaster that just said "after explosion."
Looking like my lower front teeth right here. There's a big gap.
You have a big gap in your lower front teeth?
Yeah. I would have thought it was pretty noticeable. Like, if you go back and look at the live show camera, you can see it.
Oh,
I got like big
pretty you are.
Oh, thank you. But I have like a big field goal thing going on there. Yeah.
It's not that bad.
Yeah.
You've never had to be in the same room when both Ross and I are sweaty boys?
Oh, boy.
Not to embarrass you, Ross, but like you and I are both big dudes, and we smell pretty hideous when we're sweating.
We do sweat a lot.
Can you, the listener, like send some like nice soaps and fragrances, things of that nature, to the PO box, please? Just so that when we do a live show together, like these guys will smell like, you know, something.
Lilacs.
Yeah, exactly.
I will say the best part of having a girlfriend, not the best part literally, but one of the great parts about dating Corinne is that she's like very gently like, oh, like you should take a shower.
Yeah, have you considered washing your balls this year? Maybe.
Hey, I shower regularly. Thank you. But it's also like she has all these smell good soaps and stuff. So I'll just be in the shower like lathering myself up. I got that Dove sensitive skin. I'm just like, I am as lovely as a fresh picked daisy. Now smell my balls.
Hello and welcome to Well, There's Your Problem.
It's a podcast about balls and the washing thereof. I'm trying to get a sponsorship from that soap company,
Manscaped or Manscaped. Yeah, where you at, boys?
Oh boy, it's a podcast about engineering disasters with slides. I'm Justin Rosniak. I'm the person who's talking right now. My pronouns are he and him. Okay, go.
I am Alice Caldwell-Kelly. I am the person who's talking now. My pronouns are she and her.
You didn't say it. Yay, Liam. And with my balls being all fresh and clean. Hi, I'm Liam Anderson. My pronouns are he and him.
Yeah, we're gonna start introducing after the pronoun check. We're gonna start introducing a little ball smell check. So we tell you how what our balls smell like.
I know we've recorded when I've been pretty sweaty. I'm not sweaty right now. I've been drinking for a while though.
I just cracked my first beer of the day. Actually,
this is like my fourth beer of the day, dude.
All right.
Oh, I found a new brand of Michelada. Not very good.
So today we have lined up for you a classic.
You fuckers have requested this quite a bit.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And we are nothing but like obedient servants of you, the viewers. So
yes,
one of the canonical engineering disasters. What you see on the front here is apparently two high piers. But as a matter of fact, this used to be one continuous bridge.
And then
crossing the Firth of Tay.
We're in. I have a home field advantage here because we're in Scotland.
This is
true. We had to finally get around to a Scottish engineering disaster.
Have we done a Scottish one before? I don't think we ever have.
I don't think so.
It might be our first one. Wow.
So today we're going to talk about the Tay Bridge disaster. But first, we have to do the goddamn news.
You get a novel coronavirus. You get a novel coronavirus. And you get a novel coronavirus.
I dubbed it. Our boy did not. Roz is podcasting from beyond the grave.
I actually did die of COVID last week. It was while I was editing the podcast.
At this point in the game, you should
started haunting me and said, "Please give me my stuff back."
You should get an achievement, like a little badge or something, if you have gone this far into the pandemic without getting COVID. And doubly so if you live in the United States of America, because man, you guys you're dropping the ball. I'll be honest with you.
Sucking ass. Yeah, it's. I mean, we've talked about it ad nauseum, but it's absolutely disgraceful. I don't know. Make sure your bosses have a nice time, because that's what this 5 days or less quarantine is. If you are boosted, I know that in most cases, from what anecdotally, just want to point that out. A lot of people are saying that it's not too bad if they're boosted and vaxxed. I have also seen people that have been boosted and vaxxed. That's I feel worse than I ever have in my entire life. So, if you haven't, get vaxxed, get boosted, make sure that you're taking the necessary precautions. Make sure, again, that your family has a nice time. We are in the end times.
Yeah, don't go out to Eric Adams' New Year's inauguration.
Cyanide capsules are under your seats. What else we got?
I have two things to say, which are, number one, I edited the last episode during the second worst day I had COVID symptoms. Right.
We're all very proud of you.
Yes, everyone should be nice to me and thank me for my service.
But also to the PO box, please send some various ball soaps, but also an order of linen. Number
two is I was just weirded out by the complete lack of action when these numbers started going up.
Oh yeah,
I mean,
pandemic's over, dude. Pandemic's over.
If I were Joe Biden, I would have gone ahead. I mean, no, if I were Joe Biden, then I'd be Joe Biden. I wouldn't do anything. But if I were
looking at some nice curtains, drooling a bit. Yeah, absolutely.
If I were president, I would have gone ahead and canceled Christmas and ordered NORAD to shoot down Santa. Just to curb the spread.
It is a failure from the top.
The Czechs did. The Czech army posted a video where they shot down Santa because, in the Czech tradition, presents are delivered by the infant baby Jesus. So they put out this PR video where they shoot down Santa with a surface-to-air missile.
Nice. You gotta be strict about people violating your airspace.
Absolutely. You can't be like the Swiss where you have an air force that only has office hours.
So anyway, my advice to all y'all is try to avoid getting COVID. It doesn't seem possible at the moment, unfortunately.
You're gonna get it.
Yeah.
Do your best, and
give it the old college try. That's all I can say.
And I mean, the thing that amuses me about this is Capital now finally being like, oh, you wouldn't hit me, I'm just a little birthday boy. Where it's like, listen, you wouldn't stay off work for 10 days because you had the novel coronavirus, would you? Because if you did that, that would totally destroy the economy. And this caused pretty much every communist I know to begin looking at each other like the sickos meme.
Yeah, I was about to say, I wonder how much this is like we're trying to keep Starbucks open versus we're trying to keep the power plants running.
Right.
Well, yes. But,
yeah.
Don't worry about it. Just don't get COVID. If you do get COVID, go to work, and because it's important for you to keep the Starbucks running.
Yeah, exactly. In other news, Tesla has recalled 475,000 cars, I want to say.
Is that not about
it's a good proportion.
Yeah, that's about half the cars.
Yeah, it's a good proportion of all the cars that they have sold.
I mean, I'm thinking back to the people who got mad at us for making fun of Elon Musk because, he makes something, right? And it's like,
he delivered 500,000 last year, for what it's worth.
I make something. It's called a podcast.
That's right. And we only have to recall, we recall very few of these.
I don't think we've called any of them.
We recalled one that we don't talk about.
Wait, why don't we talk about it? I don't remember that one. Was it the one where one of us said a slur?
That's the one that was only slurs, actually.
Yeah, the only slurs, the slur extravaganza, yeah.
Yes.
Said some really unkind things about each other's peoples.
Well, there's your problem with the Balkans. It was a weird episode.
Over time, repeated opening and closing of the trunk lid may cause excessive
Not a thing
wear.
you do every day or anything.
No, of course not.
May cause excessive wear to a cable that provides the rear view camera feed, says a safety recall report submitted by Tesla to the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration in the U.S. on 21st of December.
That's
right?
some really bad wiring.
I was going to say there seem to be a lot of issues with these
There's
Tesla
a lot of fit and
trunks.
finish issues. Certainly.
No kidding.
Well, it's another instance of this car sort of being built with California brain. You know, it seems to be like a common problem with these. You know, okay, so like one of the problems that Teslas have with their trunks, I forget which model this is, but the trunks, when they open, if you open it in the rain, all the water slides off the trunk lid into the trunk, right?
That rules.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how these things are in the snow, but you know, they don't have.
Not
they don't
good
seem to
because the
be- yeah.
batteries don't work.
Well, that's also true. These don't. They're not all weather vehicles, is what I'm saying.
No, I was in California over the I mean, I was in an. You remember the London
The
Fire
undisclosed
episode?
location,
Yeah, I was
yes.
in California with my girlfriend and her family, and we saw obviously a just huge amount of Teslas. And I always thought, like, even in the Northeast where we don't really have winter anymore because of global climate change, I still wouldn't trust this on like a 15-degree day, or like when it does eventually snow.
Yeah, or if it rains. Another thing they don't really have in California.
Well, I mean, right before this happened, Elon Musk sold a bunch of Tesla stock, something which should be, again, wildly illegal and is just not. So that's fun.
I don't know how this would affect the value of the company, considering, number one, their stock value is tied to nothing. Number two, the company exists to sell tax credits. And cars are sort of, you know, a side business, right?
Well, in this economy, we all have to have side hustles, right?
This is true, yeah.
Make your passion your job, Alice.
Well,
I did, and I ended up having to talk about how my balls smell. Delightful, by the way, but still.
How do my balls smell, actually?
Waiting for an update here.
I don't do this on air.
good lord.
That's I have shared many hotel rooms with you, and you have seen me do some pretty gross stuff.
I am glad that this podcast is not presented in smell edition. That's all I can say. All right. So
We go to New Orleans at some point together. Roz, you are gonna have to smell my balls.
this, no, that was the goddamn news.
Well, let's talk about the Cray Cray Bridge.
Okay. So I thought we'd start with some context.
Oh
Right.
no.
We love to start with context on the show, though.
Yes.
We love to learn.
Yes, learning is good. So we got to talk about like expansion of railways in Victorian Britain, right?
Wow,
Something called railway mania.
Roz, isn't that just due on like a Tuesday? Right?
Why is this guy to the right of the sign? Has he been buried up to the waist?
Possibly. I mean, they put these
As
railways up.
punishment?
They put these railways up pretty quick. He may have just been standing in the wrong place when the embankment went up.
When cars, when they put new asphalt down and the cars just get like left in them.
Yeah. Okay, so they invented capitalism in Britain, right?
Yes.
Thanks for
Sorry.
nothing, Alice.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry.
And as such, it was a location of some, not the earliest, but certainly early speculative bubbles, right?
Yeah, the South Sea Trading Company, Tulipania, things of this nature.
Yes. Now, the Liverpool and Manchester Railway opened in 1830. It was the first intercity railway carrying passengers and goods, right? Before that, most railways had been like, you know, special single-purpose like tramways.
There's one in Massachusetts that I think was just for like a quarry or something.
Yeah, there's a bunch of like Welsh quarry tramways and stuff at this point. Yeah.
So the business model here turned out to work pretty good, right? But people didn't really invest in it because the economy was in sort of a slump in the 1830s. By the 1840s, this was no longer the case. The Bank of England lowered rates, right? And so capital started searching for a return on investment, right? Best way to do it seemed to be railways, right?
Yeah. Whereas now it's like various companies that do things as a joke.
Yes. Like Bitcoin.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, railways were sort of the Bitcoin of their era.
Locomotive with a big bored ape on the front of it.
Yes.
Who's smoking for some reason.
So railways in Britain were almost completely unregulated. They were often highly unprofitable, but everyone invested in them anyway, right? Not just rich people, but the sort of emerging middle class, right? Because they had
retail investors.
Yeah, they had access to like stock markets. There were a lot of newspapers now, so people could advertise their railway project really easily, right?
Old school Robin Hood, swords, trust me, bro.
Yeah, absolutely.
Incorporating a railway and petitioning Parliament to authorize that railway was incredibly easy, right? So by the 1840s, tens of thousands of miles of railway were authorized by Parliament, right? And some of those miles were even built.
Wow.
Yeah. So a lot of these railways sort of went from, nowhere to nowhere, right? Some of them were clearly fraudulent schemes, and it was a standard bubble, right?
Are you suggesting that there may have been some corruption in British political life at this time?
No. It's perfectly legal for a member of Parliament to own stock in a railway company that they are authorizing via Act of Parliament. That's normal.
Absolutely. And especially when you're like in a rotten borough that you bought your seat and it has like 2 voters. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, exactly. It's 2 voters and it's soon to have 45 railways.
Yeah, it's called freedom of choice, Roz.
Yes. So a few profitable lines survived, and we're going to talk about one of them in a bit, which was the North British Railway, right?
Okay.
Now, in order to build your railway, you need actual engineering works, right?
Yeah, you need to bury that guy.
Yeah, you need to bury the guy.
You have to make your sacrifice, yes.
Particularly, big fill. You might not want a fill, you might want a bridge.
Is Big Phil the guy's name?
Yeah, that's Big Phil.
That's Big Phil. Big Phil, ironically buried in a big fill.
He's like the Wicker Man, you have to have a guy like sacrificed to the embankment for each railroad. Yeah,
it's like building the Great Wall of China where they buried the workers in the wall.
Absolutely.
That didn't actually happen, by the way.
No, they got dumped outside the ditches.
Yeah, exactly. So this is so they had to build bridges, right? This is the Meldon Viaduct, which is near Oakhampton in Devon.
Sure.
Yeah.
Friend of the show.
Yes. So in the United States, for like big railroad engineering works, the material of choice was either stone or wood, right? Wood was the more economical option because there was a lot of it around.
We had already cut down all of our wood to make ships in like the fucking God knows when.
For the bark of the New Forest.
It was not just ships, it was also charcoal for iron working, right? Yeah. So yeah, Britain was almost clear cut. So your choices for bridges were either stone or iron, with iron being the more economical choice, right? This results in an explosion in like new bridge designs, right? Bridges that scan gaps that people previously thought unbridgeable, and they all had some similar qualities, right? A lot of them were very, very lightweight.
Go back and listen to our very first episode, The Silver Bridge.
Yes. And these certainly lightweight by modern standards, because foundries didn't have the capability of like rolling really large girders like we have today. Most structural elements had to be sort of small, spindly little things. right?
Yeah,
These
I-beams
bridges-
and stuff.
Yeah, not even I-beams. We couldn't really. If you did an I-beam, would be composed of like a plate and like four L sections,
I like that. Do not like
and
that.
they'd all be riveted together. So you have lots of trussing. You have lots of small elements joined together rather than one big column, right? You know, everything. You know, you had some pros to this, which were, you know, all this was very easy to manufacture, and it can be put together by just some guys rather than needing a big crane, right? But
look at this as you're assembling a bridge. Just guys being lads.
yes,
And then you all have scurvy and die.
That's right. That's right.
but it's also very, very labor intensive, right? And it was complicated. You also have, you know, you need lots and lots of rivets. That's your other thing. You don't have welding at
Are
this
we doing
point.
hot rivets that they just fling at each other still?
Yeah, but it's still going on. Being a riveter is good work if you can get it.
And you have fairly primitive engineering calculations for determining like the loads on the structure, right? And you don't necessarily know how, you know, the structure is going to be loaded. You know, you don't have ideas about, you know, calculating for wind loads or earthquake loads, stuff like that, right?
Yeah, no, it's just
You know,
vibes instead.
pretty much. It's largely vibes.
Love to calculate my load with a vibe, if you will.
Very big factor, vibes up till the 1860s, really.
It's like, you know what? It feels good to me. Build it.
Yep.
It's just like listening to like putting your ear to the iron, being like, tell me your secrets.
Sounds good to me. Now, one popular sort of structure or structural element in the
I'm starting to
Victorian
get the
era in
feeling that
Britain
if
is
I
something
call you
called the
after
lattice
every
girder,
road race win,
right?
you will
That's
get
like
tired of me
this
very fast.
section up here, right? This is the Bennerley Viaduct, which is near Nottingham, over the River Airwash.
Stupid country.
That's not a real name.
Yeah.
I say this is someone from Pennsylvania.
So the lattice girder, right, rather than a conventional truss, right, which, you know, maybe you would have